Well, hello everyone here. I hope everything works out right. The audio was terrible the other day, so I'm trying this new microphone. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. So, if I remember from the last session, we had a little disaster. The serger, which is the machine over there, ran out of thread in one of its spools, and it stopped, surging the edge. So I had to cut yesterday's session short on that. I get good news. I got some thread today, and I spent the hour necessary to thread the serger. Threading a serger is really challenging. It has to go every which way, and you have to be the size of an ant to get in there to work. There's a lot of complicated Rube Goldberg thing of levers and pins and needles and everything else inside that serger. So I did all that. I had to clean it out. Had a lot of dust in there. It's all set, and it works. And the edge that was not surged is properly surged now, so we're ready to move along. Now, some good news. On a whim, when I went to get my serger fabric, I also took a stop at the Goodwill store here in Bellingham, and I've been using Goodwill for a lot of my fabrics because we don't really have a #1 fabric store, a top tier fabric store here in Bellingham. We have a Joann's Fabrics, but I don't know. Now, mind you, it might be just me. I've never been impressed with them, but you'd be amazed at what you see in the linens area at the local Goodwill store or the local Salvation Army store, or here in Bellingham, the Assistance League thrift store on Meridian next to, right across from Hagen's. The only stop I make in those stores is the linen section. The linen has the curtains, tablecloths, runners, maybe some really nice fabric shower curtains. Matter of fact, the shirt that I am wearing right now is made out of a fabric shower curtain, not plastic, but a fabric shower curtain. And I had to make this shirt. It was an emergency build. I was invited to my niece's wedding, and I had no formal wear at all. So in a panic, I called my sister, whose daughter was getting married, and I said, "Susan, what should I wear at Jillian's wedding?" And she said, "Well, just look nice." So I said, "Okay, how can I be myself and look nice?" So I went to Goodwill. I found this fabric shower curtain. Now, most shower curtains are plastic, but there are some really nice shower curtains that are fabric, because the water just goes along it. It doesn't have to, be waterproof. It just has to get the water and run along in the tub. So I found this, and it took me 2 hours to make this simple short sleeve shirt. There was just barely enough of the fabric in that shower curtain to make this short sleeve shirt. And I got to the wedding, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of the guests liked the shirt, except my older brother, Chris. He said, "Mark, you could have done better." Well, older brothers are older brothers. Let's leave it at that. So, let me show you what we found at Goodwill today. Actually, quite a few things. I'm probably not going to use them all. Let me reach over here. Let me get the camera a little bit closer. You gotta hit the zoom on the camera, and I have to be careful because It's very easy to trip over some of the wires here. I've got 4 cameras, microphone, 5 lights, all kinds of wires going every which way but loose. Now, here we got this fabric. This is a combination of rayon and silk. It's fairly light, so I don't really know if I can afford to use this in the crotch area of the bathing suit, because I don't want, well, obvious reasons, I don't want the crotch to blow out. So we might reserve that for a shirt or a sarong or something like that. Now this is fairly heavy fabric. It's this is probably upholstery fabric. The pattern is woven, it's not printed. Now this was a great find. This, I believe, this is either a bedspread or a tablecloth. Let me show it to you on the table camera. So I gotta switch camera, so hold on. This always takes a little bit of, here we are. Now here it is. Now the camera, again, the camera does not do it any justice. But this is, all this pattern is woven. This is not printed. Actually, you can feel the texture. So this will be, it's a good, heavy fabric. This might be suitable for part of the crotch of the shorts. The large piece, I'll have a lot left over, so there might be a shirt coming out of this. So that's that one. Now this was a wonderful find. Actually, both of these. This, now this is all woven pattern. This is what's called a runner. This was probably on somebody's credenza or side table in a really nice dining room or whatever. The floral patterns are woven in. It is heavy fabric. And by the way, all these fabrics, as soon as I got back from the Goodwill, the first thing I did with them, I put them in the washing machine. So everything on the table is pre-shrunk. So this might be suitable for parts of the shorts. I don't know. It's a long piece, so again, you might see this on a shirt or a jacket or just another pair of shorts. So you got that. Now this was a wonderful find here. Now the camera would not do this any justice. Let's see if I can get this. Oh boy, so hard to get this stuff on these cameras. Let me see if I can zoom in. That didn't work. Okay, let's see. This is multiple colors. This pattern is woven. This is not a printed print. It's about a foot wide and about, I'm guessing, a good 6 or 7 feet long. So it starts with violet at the edges, then burgundy, then it's bright, beautiful orange. Okay, but this offers a lot of possibilities for, like, I can take this and do something on each side to make it symmetrical. So this has got some interesting possibilities. So let's zoom back out like that. Okay, so we got all this. Let's get that folded back up. Okay, I think what we're going to do, we're going to probably, this is heavy fabric. So this will most likely would not blow out in the crotch. So I won't have an embarrassing moment at the swimming dock. By the way, if you are here in Bellingham and you want to, if you are here in Bellingham, Washington, and you want to see me wear this in person, let me just, whoop, I just saw something go kaflooey on the computer. What's going on here? I just want to check my streaming. It looks like everything's okay. Alright, I've got to do this to take up. This is an old computer, so it's very, very slow. So I'm going to take that. Okay. So anyhow, as I was saying, If all goes well, right now it's Monday, September 1st here in Bellingham, Washington. We are projected to hit the 80s a week from today, which is Labor Day. The 8th, no, wait a minute, that is the 1, 2, 3, 7, the 8th. 1 plus 7 is 8. So September 8th is Labor Day, if I got that right. In a week from, no, I'm sorry, the 7th, because today is Tuesday. A week from yesterday is Labor Day. It is supposed to hit 83 degrees, which is very warm here in Bellingham. If that's the case, if the forecasts pan out, I will be, hopefully, if all goes well and this gets done, I'll be wearing this. I'll be debuting it at a place called the Taylor Street Dock here in Bellingham. That is located at the south end of Boulevard Park in Fairhaven, which is the southern part of Bellingham on the waterfront. Now, I may have to wear a wetsuit over this. It all depends on how cold that water is. But nevertheless, I will take the wetsuit off if I have to wear it, and I will show this, I will debut it, and I'll treat that day, or part of that day, as my runway fashion show for my new bathing suit. So, let's get the show on the road and start to figure out what to do. Actually, before we do that, I forgot something. Let's put these aside. Now, these are the pieces that we finished. Yes, there's one there. And here's the other one. Okay, now, last week we finished these pieces. Let's see, so that's this way. So this, the colored part is the center of the shorts. This is the background for the outside of the shorts. Now, I decided that the background for the outside of the shorts, that's the hips right here, is going to be blue. Blue is water, and after all, this is a bathing suit. Now, I'm going to stitch in the blue fabric for the background for this set of the center. Now, I have not figured which is going to be front and back. I'm going to come to that decision after I do the blue background on this pair of centerpieces. Once I do that, then we have to make a decision on which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back, and what is the crotch in the back and the crotch in the front will look like. Because when you look at a person swimming, your eyes are going to be focused here, not here. So this is to focus, as well as up to here, but right about here is the focus. So this is going to be most important right here, and the same right here. But we'll have a yoke here. So the yoke and the center back are important. Okay, now we're on the desk. Okay, so now we're going to set these aside. Whenever I work on something, I'm going to take everything I'm not working on and set it aside so I won't accidentally cut it or do anything to it. So, put those aside. We have to come over to where I keep the fabric. All right. Now here is the blue fabric. Let's see. Find where I cut it. So I can keep the cuts minimal. There we are. Here is the place where I did the previous cuts right here. Okay, what I'm going to do, edges lined up. So we can make, this is 2 pieces here, back, inside the inside, both good sides facing out. Now, grab, oops, I don't want that to happen. Let's do this. When you put this like this, you gotta grab my straight edges. Alright, what did I do? Let's see, I'm gonna find. Alright, I must. Okay, so we're gonna cut this along here. Here's the straight edge. Get that. Alright, so right here, we're going to cut it here and down here, and that's going to be the background for the sides. I gotta find my cutting tool. Right here we use a rotary cutting tool. Makes it a lot quicker and more accurate for long cuts than a pair of scissors. We cut like that. Cut down here and over. Now, okay, put the straight edge aside. Okay, so here are the 2 pieces right here. We're going to take the remainder of the fabric, fold it, and put it away. Now, next up, this has to be serged. The edge on which I'm going to join it to here has to be serged. We're going to go over to the serger. So we have to first turn on the camera. Sometimes these cameras turn themselves off to save the battery. So I got to remind myself to keep. Now this is the machine that ran out of thread yesterday, but we took care of that. So, I'm just going to do a simple serge along the edge, so it will not break. Very simple, there's no joining. So we don't have to go as slow as some of the other work I've done. And here's the overlock. You see it's stitched over the edge to prevent it from fraying. That's the sole reason I do a serger run on each of these. You can see it's starting to fray right here. I'm not worried about that, but that will be cut out when I cut the final pattern. This is just creating the panel right now. We're not doing the pattern just yet. we want to finish all the panels first, the artwork in the panels first. Then we'll cut these to the pattern for a pair of shorts. So now, okay, that's done. I'm going to now go back to the table. I'm going to turn that camera on first. Going to switch are the two pieces. Now, do we want to have, we have a choice of putting the blue, actually, this is how it will look. The center of the shorts, boy, that is so, can I go back any further? Yikes. That is so big, you're not going to see the whole thing on the camera. But, so this is the outside edge of the shorts. Then you work your way to the center, to the crotch, which is right here. Okay? Now, the question is, do I want to do this, or do I want to do that, or do I want to do this, or do I want to do that? Okay. Now this is interesting because right now we have a predominance of blue and blue, which is almost too much. Whereas if you do this, you have the blue, you have a differentiation between the stripe and the background. Okay? Or that way, or do it this way. Now, I think though, actually this might be the solution here. I'll tell you why. Now, these small pieces here that blend here, those are the only ones, and they're small. I really like to have this blend visible, whereas it's not going to be quite as visible towards the bottom of the legs. So let's do this. I'm going to leave it like this. So again, there is a kind of a leading towards the blue, but not something that's going to be, all the same. So we get the blue here. It is separated and leading by kind of cool colors to the blue. We got some warm colors here, then getting cooler here, and going to the blue. Which means now we have some warm colors here to the front or the back. I don't know which side this is going to be. The front or the back will have some warm colors here with a crotch, kind of bringing you in towards the front and center. And then, so the action is going to be here. Then kind of moving out, a little bit less action, to the water. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to do a simple stitch. We don't have to line anything up. What I'm going to do is to line the top, because we have these small pieces here. The top is critical. The alignment of the top is critical because of these small pieces. So let's go ahead and, although I just thought of something, this may not work because we're going to have pockets, okay, and the pockets are going to go something like this. So this may be cut out. So, but if we do see this, all right, now, yes, this is way down here, but at least it can stay visible, okay? That's going to stay visible. And the large opening for these are longer. And there's warmer colors here, warm going towards the cooler colors in the water. So, and the pocket, which goes like this, it will not cut out all of this. There's a lot of this, a lot more than there is of this. This would have been lost to the pocket. But this will be saved, but will be at the bottom. Now, I want to check one thing. I want to see if the length of these is any different from the length of the other pieces that I did. I gotta find the two other pieces that I've completed. Put those here. Okay, get these back. Now, let's lay these, and it looks like we may have a problem. So, okay, you notice now, you bring these up. These are shorter. This is shorter than this. So we may have lost this as, you know, as it is. But there's one thing that we have that's going to add this. We have a yoke in the back, and the yoke will push these back down like so, which does give us the opportunity to save these, okay? So that means then that this here would have to be the back, okay? And this would be the front. Now that's interesting, because this now, interestingly enough, has a lot more action, okay, rather than this. I'd almost wanted to do this for the back. So now, let's think about that. Since now, if I use this for the back, the yoke will push this down even further, and we may end up losing this anyways. Now, now, maybe it's interesting to take this and make it part of the yoke. I don't know, but that's something I'm going to have to contemplate doing, because I really want to have this. There's a lot of action here. You got the white, you got the multiple colors, you got the red, finally going to the blue. Although that's kind of abrupt, going to red to the blue, where this is more subdued, going from the warm down to the cool, provided I do whatever is necessary for warm colors in the center, okay? So if I leave that as the front, if this is the front, okay, this is the back, now we're going to have all this action here, but this is the back. So actually, and we can turn this. Now this is interesting. Whoa! Now here's something interesting here. We have a more subtle shift going from here to here. Would that be suitable for the front? And this on the back. No, if this is the front. Wait a minute, I gotta think. If this is the front, now this is the back. Do we want this? Well, that's going to tear the eye down to here. So if we instead, for the back, we do this, that's going to focus the eyes up here, okay, where they want to go. Yes, this is contrasting here, clashing here, but this is the back. You're going to see this going away. Now, I haven't decided what I'm going to do about the yoke, but this is going to be like this, going away. Coming toward you will be this, which is more of a gradual change. So let's do this. We're going to, first of all, we decided that you set these aside, and we're going to stitch this to this and this to this. So let's go to the sewing machine. All right, so we're going to switch camera, the sewing machine, not that one, that one. Go to this one here. Now, I'm going to bring these over here. Now, we're not going to match anything here, it's just a simple stitch. Now let's just want to make sure with the new lighting, how does that look? That looks pretty good. Now can we bring the camera a tad? You gotta be careful. If you bring the camera too close, then it interferes with the work. So let's see how that feels. I think that's the best we can do. Like that. That's not a zoom camera. Alright, we're just going to have to leave that. You should be able to see that. We've got plenty of light on it now. Much more light than we had in the past. I get 2 new lights on this setup now. They are photo lights. Lights designed for photography and video. In the past I had some fairly dim lights in the room. So hopefully things are better for you now than it was in the past. And if this works, and I'm going to leave it this way, I may invest in another better camera for here. But at least now we have the lighting, and the lighting is a much more full spectrum light, almost like daylight. More like daylight than the incandescent lights that we had in here in the past. So here's one. We open it up and it's going to look something like that. So let's put that aside. We grab the other one. Just a simple stitch down. We're doing the main seam, which is 1 inch in from the edge. That is, of course, for your seam allowance. Nothing special. We're not trying to match any cross seams at all. Just a simple stitch right down the line to attach the background, the edge background color to the strip in the front. Alright, now we did that. Now, as far as laying the top stitch, it's going to be easy. There's a seam here. Let's try to get this top stitch on the side with the blue. That may be tricky because the blue fabric. Let's check the other one. How did I do it? On the other set, now look at the other set. The top stitch is on the blue side. So in this case, I'll be forcing the seam underneath here to my left or toward you as seen by the camera. Okay, so do that. Remember, all the fabric has been pre-shrunk. This should be okay. Okay, we did the top stitch. It's on one. The seam stayed on the correct side, so that's one. Okay. Alright, now we're going to do the other side. We're going to force it now to my right or away from you. Just, you see my finger, away from you. Like that. Now what I do the seam, I do the top stitch about 1/4 to 5/16 away from the main seam. That keeps it within the 1/2 inch seam allowance, and it's ensured to anchor the seam to the fabric so we have a good strong double seam. The whole thing together, which is important for a pair of bathing suits, so they won't come apart. Okay. Alright, right down the line, very simple. Okay, there we are. Now, those are done, let's go back to the working table camera. Alright, okay, there we are. Okay, now, alright, so here we are. This is going to be, this is with the background attached, okay, to this, and then we have this set. What? Let's see, I'm going to do it this way. This set with the background attached. Okay, now, that's the easy part. Now, let's figure out what we're going to do about the center. Okay? Alright, so we're going to attack the back. We're going to do this. The front is the most exciting one. We're going to go ahead and look at the front first. So let's take the two for the back and set them aside. Now before I do that, let me just check and make sure that the live stream is going okay. Everything seems to be okay. So we take that back out. Alright, now we gotta think about this is the front now. Now with the front, we're gonna have the crotch is gonna go like this because you always have it going under. It's gonna go like that and out like this. And so it's gonna be down and out and then back in. So I'm figuring to do it in two parts. The most important part is the fly, which is about 8 inches. So we're going to do something here for the fly on each side. Then something more plain for the underside of the crotch because you don't see that. So thinking of that, now let's do this. Let's get the pattern out if I can find it. I'm going to dig into all this. Here is the pattern for a man's pants. Okay, now, here's the pocket. Okay, that's the pocket right there. Now, it turns out the fly is this area here. Right here is the fly. Now, it turns out that this is so wide here that we won't be needing much of this. So the pocket is this area here. Okay, so we're going to cut in a little bit of that, a little bit of that. So let's see. So that means we need something here. It's going to be actually very narrow. If we do one piece to here, then actually one piece to about here. Okay, that's what's going to be seen in front. Then this is going to be more hidden. Okay, so we only really need to do about 2 inches here, and about we're safe to take 5 inches here to capture this. So we can make the whole thing, to make it easier, we can make the whole thing going out. Let's see, just going to line this up to the grid. We do 6 inches. Do 6 inches out from here. That will be enough to catch the fly and the crotch. So let's do that, knowing that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make a strip for the front. 2 components. Something for the fly area and something a little bit more mundane for under the crotch. So let's dash all this back where I found it. So let's think about now the first thing that comes to my mind is this for the fly. Now, interesting possibilities. We can either do it this way or that way, but it's so little to be seen. Let's do it this way. So now, if I can get to the end of this right here, we take this. Now we got some really wonderful possibilities, because if I cut this, make 2 pieces of this, they're going to be symmetrical. Okay, and we only need to come down to about, say, about here. Okay, so we can actually go from this to this, or have the brights at the top going diminishing down. Okay, so we said we're going to cut 2 pieces, 6 inches apiece here with this. Then find something else. So let's do that right now. Let's set these aside. Okay, but we're going to do some cutting. Let's put those right here. Now, this, by the way, has a backing. Now that makes me a little nervous. They may have some binding or interfacing here. Now what do we got here? If I break that tag off of there, cut it off. That was from the price tag from Goodwill. We take that off. Now, okay, we take the roller cutter, and we're going to cut. There's a hem here. Okay, we're going to cut along that hem. We line the end with the grid. I'm going to cut 1/2 inch in. I'm just going to eyeball it. Like that. Now they do this because this is a runner. So they don't want you to see the back side. Now, you notice now there's something weird here. I don't know what that is, but we're going to have to wing it. Okay. Now we're going to cut 6 inches, we're going to cut 12 inches off, which would be about here. We're going to grab a straight edge. Actually, yeah, we're going to drive that like that. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Ah, okay. I just thought of something. Let's go back to where we were with the pattern. Okay. And here we are. Let's pull this back out again. Now, as I said, we only need 2 inches to go out here. Okay. Then it goes to 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. We don't need 6 inches for the whole thing. What I'm going to do to save this fabric, this is good fabric, I'm going to do 2 inches will bring us down to here. Let's do 2 inches for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches. We're going to do 2 inches by 7 inches long, which is plenty for this. Then the piece we'll do for the bottom, we can come out more. So with the good fabric, which is this, we're only going to do 2 inches. Actually, let's do, for safety, let's do 3 inches. That would take us all the way down to here. Okay? But the additional, and if we do, or we do 2 inches to here, then the additional fabric, the next piece, will be 5 inches wide, but that's going to be not as nice fabric as this. So let's make 2 pieces here, and considering seam allowance, let's make them 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half. 3 by 7 and a half. Okay, so we're going to do, so I said 3, okay, by 7 and a half, which is going to be, actually, that's not the end I cut. The end I cut is right here. So, let's go back here, line that cut edge. So, we're going to do 6 inches total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's going to be about, actually, let's do 2 3-inch pieces. So this is going to be 3 inches. Okay, like that. Okay, separate that out. This is also going to be 3 inches. Okay, that's going to save a lot of this fabric. Instead of doing 6 inches, we're doing 3 inches. Because I can see a lot of uses for this fabric. So I want to conserve this as much as possible. So now we're going to set this aside. Okay. Okay, now I said, let's go back to the pattern. Let's double check. We're going to now, what we want to do, actually, let's do this. We want to take this to bright towards the top, or something like that. But we're going to have a seam allowance for the waistband. So let's start the bright right there. So let's cut these here. Now, let's give me a little bit of, actually, we're going to have to go down a little bit more because we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. So, with seam allowances, that's going to make it 8. So these are 1, now we're going to have to cut this hem. So, it's going to be from, I should do this. Let's cut, remember, this is got a backing. So there's a hem right here. We're going to cut this off. Alright. Now, I'll do the same for the other side. Alright, what we're going to do, we're going to go something like this, so about a ½ inch above the bright red. We want to get this here, the real bright there. So let's do about ½ inch above that. So, get the straight edge again. To a ½ inch above the bright orange, so it's going to be about there somewhere. Okay. Now, cut that across. These are, we're going to throw those away. Now, set that aside. Okay. Now, we're going to take the backing off. Now, what's interesting here is we have this. This is some sort of interfacing. But I don't know if it really is. I don't know if that's this. You get the thread behind there. Now that I'm hoping is that going to pull apart, because this is where there could be risk. Now let me zoom in on that to show you. Alright, if you look carefully, here's the front. Here's the bright going down to the dark, okay? This is all woven. This is not a printed pattern. Now, go to the back. They have this strange backing on these, okay? So, it looks to me there's thread there, but there's also a white metal fabric. Can we separate them? No, I am going to, this could be a risk of bursting. But this is the front. This is not the back. The back always has the biggest risk of bursting in a pair of pants. You never see the, very, very rarely, do you see the front crotch ripping. It's always the seat of the pants. So I'm going to go ahead and take that risk. And probably to mitigate that risk, I would wear boxer shorts under this bathing suit. So if anything does go wrong, I would not face embarrassment of exposure. Now, I don't know what else to do about this. We could, let me think. See, the two of these would be stitched together. That would be the front of the shorts. I guess what I could do, although that's going to be really difficult, should I take a piece of fabric, maybe I should have left the backing on. Let's see this. We still have the two backing pieces. It's not that one. I threw them both away. No, it's not that. No, not that one. I thought did I throw them away or not? Well, yeah, let's grab these. These are these backed these. So I guess what I could do is we can do this. We can serge these on this, this edge, the edge that would join the other pieces. We can serge on. We can't serge the center because the center is going to be cut later for the crotch. So we can't, but we'll serge it once that's cut. But we can serge here and here. So that would be, let me zoom back out. So we can serge here and here. but not here. Actually, we can serge the top, yes. We can serge the top. We can serge this way, and this way, but we cannot serge this because we don't know what this shape this will be on the final cut. So let's do that. I'm going to head over to the serger right now. Activate the camera on the serger. Bring these over. Now, maybe you're thinking I should have left the backing in place, but the problem is that had a hem already sewn, and that would have been tricky to keep that hem, especially when I'm doing a custom cut. So I'm going to just do a simple serge around the edges to serge these together. Then of course they'll be sewn together in the final product. You can take it really slowly and carefully. Right, like that. And that's number one. We got one done. Okay. And we got it. These are gonna be opposite. So this is one serge. Take the bright orange. Okay, that means the other one has to be opposite. Here's the bright orange, the other one. So this one is going to have to go like this because this one, the serging is on the left. So let's do the long serge first and sure I get that right. Make sure everything's lined up like this. Now remember, all this has been pre-washed, so there should be no concern about shrinkage. Okay. While we're at it, it is crucial that these are the same length because you want the seam to the bottom part of the crotch to be right aligned. So you can see this, probably can't, let's do it here. Put the tops together and the bottoms come within an 1/8 of an inch of matching. That's all I care. So these are done. Okay. Let's go back to the work table. So that was a bit of excitement there. Okay, now we have these two pieces. They have the fronts, the backing's on. So now these are much more secure. Now, this is the center of the garment, and remember that the bottom half has to be different. They have to be 5 inches for the bottom part of the crotch to allow for the crotch point. So let's figure out what to use for that. First of all, let's put the pattern away so I won't cut into it. All right, put that away. The cutting, put the straight edge away. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, we gotta put these away. Alright, now. Okay, so this, okay, we are through with this. So I'm going to put this back on the shelf. Get it way out of the way. Okay, now, okay, do we want to use that? No, that's too nice. We're definitely not going to use that one. Definitely not going to use this. So let's put this, I doubt they're going to use that, so let's put that back on the shelf. Alright. This, it's got too much activity for the inside of the crotch, so we're not going to do that, but we might use this for either the yoke or the back. But before we do that, just for the fun of it, this also has a backing. That's out of curiosity. Right now, I'm going to make a cut a couple of inches in, just to look. Actually, let's cut right along the hem, just like that, and see what the heck's inside here. Now we got a, okay, this, you can see it. There's no interfacing, there's nothing between this and the backing, which is good. That's good to know. So this is fine to use as is, but we're not going to use it right now. I don't know if I'm going to use these on these pants or not, or save this for a jacket or some other garment. I don't know yet, but let's set that aside. Now, let's set that aside. This is going to be a bit too bright to be inside the crotch in the front. You don't want to attract the eyes inside the bottom of the crotch. So, we're going to set that aside. That might be for, we could do this for the yoke or the pocket, but let's decide that later. So, let's see. What else I have here among this mess of fabric. I had that fabric. Where did that go? I don't want that one. Well, let's see. I just don't want bright colors for that. Although, let's see. What about, what is this one? Now, what about this here? It's a dark color, but it's got some understated excitement going on. It's kind of a match in the pattern to the blue here. So let's go ahead and use this. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut two pieces that are, we're going to have to measure them out. So the pieces, now then you have to go back to the front. I have decided which one, no, this is the back, no, not, that's the back. You find the front pieces, which are here. Now, we decided, now, let's see now. How did we, okay, we wanted to do this. Alright, so this, these are going to be stitched to that like that along the serger, okay? That's the fly, okay? This is the fly area. Then the underside of the crotch is going to be this, so we're going to need to make two pieces 5 inches by, and do a rough measure. We'll put the bottom of these along the bottom line of the grid, okay? Line the tops of these up something like this, okay? So we gotta fill this space in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 for seam allowance. So 17 by 5, 2 pieces. So we set these aside. We've got to set these aside. And we pull this out. So 17 by 2. We set the white fabric. Actually, I'm going to take the bedspread. I'm going to take this white tablecloth and put that on the shelf just to get it out of the way. All right, now we're going to unfold this and find a suitable edge to work on. I said 17 by 5. All right, and I'm going to be probably a little bit generous. You got seam allowances and you got human error. Okay, so now, how long is this? So this is 40 inches, so 17. So we can actually make one cut here, 5 inches long, 5 inches wide, and then just cut it in half, okay? Now, make sure there. Unfortunately, the original fabric cut was not straight, so I've got to take 2 straight edges like this. All right, that's one. Now, the straight edge is 6 inches wide. We said 5, but we're going to do seam allowance. Just go ahead and do 6. It's always better to have a little tiny bit too much rather than a tiny bit too little. So we're going to go all the way down like that. There. Now, we'll take the rest of the fabric and put it back. Take these straight edges off. Okay, now we're going to cut this in half. Fold it over. Like that. Line it to the edge of the grid. And simply just cut it in half. Now, for each of the halves. Alright, there you see. We'll open them up to the good sides. Now, we're going to serge. This is going to be stitched like it's going to be. Okay, it's going to go from this way to this way. Okay, this will be stitched. So it's going to go like, if I can get the right one out. So it's going to go like this, okay? There's a little extra here, but that's going to go. So I've got a serge here and here. I'm not going to bother serging the bottom, because that's going to be cut. I serge here and here on each one. So go back to the serger. one. The other. All right. Okay. Turn the excess thread off. And it's gonna look something like that. Get the table camera back on. Now, okay, now we got surge here and here, here and here. Okay, so the next we have to stitch here to here, here to here. Okay, then we stitch this to the strip that we already done. So we have to do this first. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time. It's a sewing machine. Let's go to the sewing machine camera, which is this camera here. All right. Okay. Now, remember the backing I was talking about. Now, we're going to be sewing now through 3 layers here. We'll be sewing through the backing first, then this fabric, and the fabric for the bottom of the crotch. So, make sure all the edges are lined up before we get going. Okay. And a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay. Now, do that one. Set it aside. Oh boy. Okay, same thing with the other one. Make sure the edges are lined up. 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, like that. Now, to do the top stitch, it's a little tricky, okay? If we do the top stitch this way, that would keep this out. This would keep this from trying to turn back up. If we force the top stitch this way, that means this is going to be trying to come back out and will want to interfere with me cutting this. So let's do the top stitch towards the red, the violet and the red here. That means toward my left on this one or toward you. We do the top stitch. Okay? Something like that. Okay, so that one is done. Okay? Now, same with the other one. The top stitch towards the violet here, or the red, the top. And that's to my right or away from you on this camera. Oh, can you see that? Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Bring that there. I think that might be a little bit better, but it is so difficult to get a balance with that. Okay, now, that's that. Let's go back to the working table. That camera goes on. We switch to camera 2. And we switch the scene to, nope, wrong one. There. Okay, now, we got those on. And we want to stitch now with this. Let's see. This will be this one like this. And we get the other one, which is gonna be like this and this. Now, So this is going to be stitched to here and then cut. So now, what we have, you have to be careful because now, remembering that the eye is going to be focusing, we might want to line this up to here because see the eye is going to be focusing here. This is mismatched from side to side. You see that? Actually bring the camera closer. Okay, if this point here is different than this one, say like that, you're going to notice that because this is in the area of focus when you're looking at me walking towards you. So I think I'm going to make a square join here and here, knowing that now all this stuff is lined up. The eye will focus here. You'll be comfortable because it's a full alignment. Now these are going to be different on top, but that doesn't matter. We're going to cut these even here. Okay, we don't, actually, get these closer now. Now if I line this up to here, here, and here, if I line these up, all right, this length here is not going to be the same as that. So what? We can cut these off. Now, let's for the fun of it, let's get these lined up so that the pink starts at the bottom of this line on the grid here and here. There's going to be about a 1/4 inch difference here. That's probably because, well, no, not necessarily. That is, it's pretty much right on. So let's do that. We're going to line it here and here. We're fortunate that the top stitching went in the same direction. If it had gone in a different direction, we would have done something differently. So we're going to go ahead and stitch these and these. We're going to go ahead back to the sewing machine. Now when we do this, I'm probably going to have the top stitch going this way on this one and this way on this one because this fabric is thicker than this fabric. So try to fold this in this very thick seam here back. It's going to be harder than folding this thinner seam back. So we're going to go ahead, stitch these, top stitch these out. Okay, so let's go back to the sewing machine. Bring this over. Now, we're going to line these up. Two seams are lined up like that together. We're going to start here because we're doing an alignment here. We want to start stitching at the alignment and go down the line in each direction separately. Let's double check. Okay. That's a lot of stuff. You got the lining, you got the top crotch, and you got the bottom crotch fabric all together here. So we're going to do it. Start it here. Now once we do that, we simply now go down the line. We're going toward the bottom of the shorts in this direction. Something like this. And this. Something like. Okay. Okay, that one's done. Okay, then we have to turn it over. We have to now once again start from the join. I always start a little bit before to make sure it's covered, and we go down the line to the top of the shorts. Okay. Again, 1 inch, 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the top stitch in this one, remembering the top stitch is going to go to my right. Okay, I'm sorry, to my left. You want the top stitch to go away from this here. So just to do it right, let's go back to here. I'm going to go away from this fabric towards this fabric. So that means top stitch to my right or away from you. So pull these apart. Okay, so right down to the end of the line. Okay, this one is done. All right, so now let's do the other one. Okay, now again, we're going to line up where the joint is, get the seam in alignment. Carefully, hopefully without these moving much, we have to get them under the foot of the machine. Double check that they are still lined up, which is hard to do that, and yes they are. Things can shift around a bit when you're messing around the foot because of the feed dog. Start from that. Now we're going to first go down the line to the bottom of the shorts. Like this. Careful to maintain a 1/2 inch seam allowance for the top stitching. That's my standard, okay? All right, now I forgot to cut a little thread off the end with a little trimming. Okay, so that's one direction. We turn this over, go back to the join, and we will go down the line to the top of the shorts. Like something like that. Okay, now we do the top stitch. Once again, we go toward the center. So in this case, actually, whoopsie, woo, I'm still working. I almost knocked the sound out again. Okay, let's go back here. Now, we're going to go away from this. This is the heavy fabric with the backing. We're going to go towards the burgundy, which is here. That's to my left or toward you, towards the camera. Get this thing under the foot, and something's catching. Okay. Making sure that the fold is going to my left. It's going to want to creep here because this is where you go 5 layers of fabric inside that cross seam there. Okay. Pulling these apart, make sure it is open as much as possible. You don't want it to pull too hard, otherwise you expose the threads in the main seam. I made that mistake before. Now it looks like it's wanting to creep over to the right. Check that, make sure it's all going to the left. Again, we keep going down the line. Okay, like something like that. Okay, now they're both done now. Not much. Okay, there you are. Now that's going to be the front. So this is the crotch. So the shorts are going to look like this. Now there's a mismatch here. These are going to, actually, let's trim this now. Okay, so we're going to put these back to back. Line this to this. So these are lined up here. What's not lined up is this here. This, the top of this, has to be trimmed. Okay, so let's see. Get a straight edge. and we just trim it to make sure that these are on line with the grid, and this goes in like this. Trim the top like this, like that. Okay, now to make sure it stays together, I'm going to go ahead and serge this. I've already serged this, but this needs to be serged just to make sure this securely stays together until we do the final assembly. So let's head back over to the serger. Serger cap. Just going to do a simple serge to keep this bound and secure. Theoretically, it won't need to be serged, because this is going to be bound inside the top hem. But because there's a lot more time, a lot more messing around with this before that happens, I want to keep it secure, so I don't have to recut or anything like that. Some of this fabric will fray. So we get that serged like that. Alright, that's one. Okay. So we're going to do the other. Okay, like that, like this. Now, we're going to end up double serging this. That doesn't matter. It doesn't really hurt it. Better to double serge it than have nothing. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go back to the table. All right, now, and arrange these at this out of the way. All right, so now, these are in full alignment. Look like all the distances look pretty well. Even if these were misaligned here, the eye is going to focus here. This has to be, the colors are lining up, this is lining up to this, so all this, the eye is going to focus here, and this looks fine right now. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to pull these apart, and I'm going to dig out the pattern again. We're not going to cut it yet, because we have to do the back. So it's going to be something like this. You're going to have about 2 inches of that. That's going to be something like this. You don't want the pattern to go out here. Actually, let's zoom in on that. Bring that down. Let's bring it up. Okay. Here. Okay, here's the, oh, that's off camera. Okay, I did it wrong. Okay. Here is the, okay, so here's the red. So if I cut this here, you're going to see the red here, which is good. I wanted some of the red to be exposed. Now, I did it kind of close. I mean, I should have, more comfort, I should have made this maybe, 3 inches instead of 2 inches. But okay, but still, you're going to see it here. And you're also going to see it here. So you're going to see a center focus of warm colors, cooler, and so forth out. Okay, then we cut here. We have plenty of this fabric. This is going to take care of the inseam here, then on down. So that looks fine there. Now let's put this away. All right, so that takes care of the front. Now, they'll have to be cut out for the pockets. We have to do the pockets. But we're going to do those later. Now, let's zoom back out. Okay, we're going to take these, but now we're through with these for now. The front pieces. Okay? Now, next is to figure out what to do with the back. Okay, now the back, how did I decide it? Okay, so we're going to have to figure out now the back is much more pronounced, but you know what? It is now 9:30. we've been here and okay, well, all right. So actually now let's take the front, just for the fun of it. We'll take these. All right, and I'm just gonna lay one side over myself. It will look, well, kind of like this. Now that's one side of it. Let's see. Hard to see because I'm wearing so much else going on. With the front, actually, can I do this? It's going to be something like this, okay? But, you know, I'll stitch together. So the focus is going to be right here. And that looks like it works out quite well. But now, let's put these, again, we'll put the front panels aside. We have to figure out what to do with the back. And let's do this. But next time, we're going to work on the back. What we're going to do for the top of the back here and the bottom of the back, which is much bigger on the back of a pair of pants. The back, I can show you the pattern. Here's the pattern for the back. And you see that the inseam is much bigger on the back than the front. So, but again, you don't see this. A lot of this you don't see. You're going to see this part. So we may do another split for the back. But I should not have to be as fancy for the back, but we're already fancy for the back here. So I might do not quite as elaborate of what we just did, but we'll see. So that is next time. Excuse me. It is now this is Tuesday evening. My goal was to have these done, really the best, have it done by the weekend. So when it gets warmer, and I feel like going out swimming, these would be ready. So let's try with tomorrow night, Wednesday night, about the same time. I might pull it back earlier just to give more time. But my goal, obviously, I want to have the panels done tomorrow. Then, if all goes well, I'll do the cut against the pattern for the front and the back. Now that's just a cut. Then I have to serge that cut. Then I have to figure out what to do for the yoke. The yoke, by the way, on a pair of pants is right here, above the butt. Okay, I have to figure out that and figure out what to do about the pockets, okay, the front pocket. Now, to remind you, I don't do back hip pockets on any of my clothing. So those will not enter in the equation here. So, let's see, I will announce it sometime on Facebook and all the other forums of when it will be. I'm going to guess tomorrow evening, let's say for the fun of it, let's say tomorrow at 7 or 7:30 tomorrow, Wednesday evening. So, see you all later. I love you all.